there. Welcome back. And today I am interviewing Teresa Taylor, who happens to be a phenomenal lender with the University Lending Group. And now we can get to a subject that I like. It's all about investors. I don't know if any of you know this or how many of you do. I am an investor and I own investment real estate. So this is something that I enjoy, and we have a lot of investors in the area. And quite often, a lot of people say, gee, I'd like to get into owning income properties, which I think is fantastic. So we're going to talk about that from the beginning, someone who's just starting out to someone who is really acquiring property. So we're going to discuss these loan options, and I'm going to turn this over to Teresa since she gets to talk about it.
Yeah, so, this is interesting because I just started thinking about this because we've been talking about all kinds of different things on and off the camera, but we actually have a really great loan called the Making Home Possible loan where you can buy a duplex. I mean, that's one of the best ways to get started.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
Absolutely. And that is, talk about a first-time homebuyer product that would be a good fit. That's something I'd love to do for my son at some point, just for his first taste of investments, is get a duplex.
My aunt did that, by the way. She ended up owning like 6 of them right by a hospital. This is down in Ohio. She lived in one, rented out the other. Then she bought another one. My cousin lived in that, and she kept acquiring them.
Absolutely. A lot of those programs are great to start when it's, when it's still your primary residence and you're renting out the other side. I mean, that's going to, or, top to bottom, whatever way the duplex is set up. But I think that's a really great way to get started as an investor. And you can do up to 10 conventional loans for investment properties. But what I love about my company is we have a commercial division that Taryn's actually done quite a bit of work with, where when you hit that max on conventional loans for income properties, you can use our portfolio loan. And that's kind of a case-by-case basis. But
yes,
as I quoted Mr. Eric Bradley earlier, those loans, you can have a giraffe one day and an elephant the next day. I mean, they really are created for your individual needs. And a lot of our investors who hit that max, that's the next step that they take. They work with our portfolio loans and with Mr. Bill Roberts with our commercial division.
Yeah. And here's another fun fact. Not everyone does them, folks. And, some people say, oh, yeah, we do these loans. No, a lot of them do not. They might limit it. They don't have, especially when it comes to even going into portfolio loans. And I've heard this from many people. It's like, well, they've got to do all these. And the University Lending Group says, no, we can do this or we can do that. And they can, exactly like she said, what do you need? Let's find the solution for it. Again, we're talking about being solution oriented. I know you are, but I mean, your company is. So
that's one of the things I love about, I know we're talking about investors, but kind of like going off on a tangent about how much I adore my back end staff. Like, they are my processor, my underwriter, my project manager. Everyone is very solution oriented. Where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, they're going to find a way to make these loans work. And if we hit a wall, we always have our portfolio loans that we can turn to. And that applies to residential loans and to commercial loans.
Yeah. I've actually had deals where, back when I used to sell, back on the lakes and everything, there was a few loans that we ended up doing, and these were for residential purposes, and they wanted to live in there, was, for their primary. They did a portfolio loan because they had investment properties, and they're just like, well, a conventional loan's not going to fit you, but we can do a portfolio for your resident. That's the first time I knew that, because I had never approached it from that point. But that was like one of the few places that did it, because not everyone does it. So that's very important. Again, know who your lender is. Do they have a lot of different options for you? Options. I love options.
Absolutely. And you have to be flexible.
Yeah, definitely. So, a little bit about Teresa. So, I met her at my old brokerage 10 years ago. And find out later that she lived right down the street from where I used to live. By that time, I was living somewhere else. Great neighborhood in Ann Arbor. And she, and her background, this is what I was telling someone. She's going to explain anything you don't understand, education, because that's where you were doing that before you got into lending.
So before I was a
Training.
lender, I was a realtor, got my license in 2003, and always had a passion for education and, of course, creating relationships. I think that's really the foundation of our business is creating relationships. And in order to create those relationships, we really do have to focus on training and making sure that people are equipped with all the right tools in this industry, whether it's a real estate agent, a lender, or a buyer who's purchasing their first home. But we met because I was a corporate trainer, and we kind of have stayed in touch and kept that relationship going.
And so now that she's in lending, it's like, oh, this is just perfect because I know her, I trust her. She clarifies things so well, and that's I find just in any industry. It's like, even when you go to school. I mean, some teachers they know their stuff, but they can't explain it. And it's a complete disaster.
And it's not one size fits all. Everybody has a different level of understanding concepts and a different level of experience. Whether it's a new home buyer or someone who's purchased a home 5-10 times, people need help and people need to have conversations and clarification of details.
And by the way, this industry changes all the time. So like, they might have new loans coming out. They might have all kinds of stuff. Those need to be clarified, to the client. So I think that's, you got to stay on top of things.
And when Taryn and I first met, and this is kind of like how I met, a lot of people as we started talking about scuba diving. I've been scuba diving since I was about 14 years old. Taryn has been scuba diving her entire life.
No.
No? I thought you were diving in your 20s.
No. I used to, my late husband did not want to do scuba diving. We traveled, we did snorkeling and stuff like that. And I always wanted to go into scuba diving. And then my one son said, hey, I want to learn scuba diving. So we did it together.
Wow. So you did this with your son for the first time?
Actually, yeah. So now I dive with Huron Scuba. Shout out Brian Bondi. Love you, dude. Huron Scuba. Love it.
And my vice president, Eric Bradley, dives with them too. And I believe he is an instructor with, I don't know that.
Well, he's probably a master.
Don't quote me.
I have to look and see if he's got his master diver on.
Oh, no, he's very passionate. Eric's, I think that he's working on his.
So Brian's got this wall with all these people's names. I'll have to look and see if your name is there, Eric.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love scuba diving.
Tell me one of your favorite dives.
I've only dove on air. So that is a phenomenal place to go. Salt Pier. Love the Salt Pier. So if I don't say Salt Pier, I can't think of any other better place. Octopuses, everything, talking about the rays and stuff.
Yeah.
Rays down there. Just all kinds of critters. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I love Micronesia. I think that Micronesia is a whole other world. My nephews are Palauan, and we went out to Palau, in 2007. And of course, we did Jellyfish Lake, which is not scuba diving, but that's snorkeling. It was an amazing experience.
Oh, wow.
And I was telling Taryn earlier about the time that we were in the German Channel, and that's kind of a cleaning station. It's a beautiful part of Palau where, you see tiger sharks, you see like every single, marine animal that you can ever even dream of. And I had a huge manta ray. I don't know how big the wingspan was, like over 10 feet. I mean, it was a giant manta ray that came to me personally. I had this like really amazing, like spiritual connection with this animal. And we just like took off and went all over the place and had a great time trucking around. And it was an amazing experience. So whenever we kind of talk about real estate, lender kind of stuff, we go right back into talking about diving. And right behind us, mindset is everything.
Yeah, it is. Which reminds me, East Coast dive. If you go down there, you want to do East Coast dive. That's what the giant turtles are, almost as big as cars.
Where?
The East Coast of Bon Air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they take you out on a Navy ship, drop off, go way down, and then they pick you up later on the other side. It is awesome.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen turtles that big.
I have, yeah. My first dive on East Coast, I was like, my mouth had been wide open, but I had my respirator. So I had to breathe.
Yeah, you gotta keep that in your mouth.
Cool. So, gotta be adventurous. And when you get into income properties, you gotta be risk takers.
Risk takers and creative.
Yep. A lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So lending is important. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Well, my name's Teresa Taylor, and I work with an amazing company called University Lending Group here in Ann Arbor. And I'm very passionate about customer service, customer relationships, as well as my relationships with the local realtors in the area.
I'm Taryn Scherer. This is my channel that I started, and I'm with Century 21 affiliated. Our office is located in the cool Schlenker building, 3rd floor, downtown Ann Arbor. I can look at the downtown home and garden from the office.
Oh, yeah. Best location.
Great balcony. We should do a video there.
Yeah.
And I've been in real estate since college. My late husband was a real estate investor, and we ended up, flipping houses and then buying and holding. I've owned everything from single family homes into commercial residential units. I've converted commercial buildings into commercial residential units. So I've done a lot of different things over a long period. Oh my God, I feel so old now. And I started working about 11, 12 years ago doing residential selling, buying. I do small commercial as well. One of my funnest ones was a client that I met, and he has bought 2 buildings already and renovated them. And after the first one, he was so nervous, and I said, I don't see any more buildings popping up on the street. He bought. Great investment. So I find joy in working with people that want to move on with their life. And the only way to move on is a lot of times to buy, sell, buy. And I like to be part of that process. I think it's fun. And if you're not having fun, why do it? So that's why I like to work with the right people, because it ends up being a great process for everyone. Now, if you like any of this, I want you to like and subscribe. It helps to promote this. And I try not to be a real huge pushy person, but it will help. And if you want to send a comment, or if you want to instead, email me, send me a question. I'm here for you, as is Teresa, because her information will be down below in the description. And so just, shoot down there and reach out to us, and we're here to help you.